Channel 7's News and Today tonight ran a segment highly critical of the reform of Australia's organ and tissue donation system, which really annoyed me. Now, regular viewers know Sunrise was instrumental in starting these reforms and also the establishment of the Organ and Tissue Authority, of which I'm chairman of its advisory council. So let's take a look at the claims from last night's segment and get it right.
Australia's organ donation rate is pretty sick. We rank 19th behind countries like Croatia, Latvia and Estonia.
Well, let's look at the facts here. Since the Organ and Tissue Authority was launched just back in 2009, Australia's donation rank has risen from a lowly 32nd in the world to 19th and grown 41%. That's an increase the same as the first 6 years of reforms of world leaders such as Spain and the UK. It's just that they've been doing it a lot longer. We still have a lot to do, but we're getting there, and it is at a world-class rate. Here's the next bit.
It's cost $250 million. Money not well spent, say critics like Professor Bruce Purcell.
Really? That's over 6 years. Let's look at the figures. Just the extra kidney transplants alone save our hospital system $25 million a year. Add in heart, lung, liver and tissue transplants, and the reforms actually save the hospital system a lot more than it costs. Look, the segment is based around comments from Bruce Puzzle, Brian Myerson and Michael Jeffrey. All these blokes are members of a rich lobby group called ShareLife, who basically want to take control of the reforms and take control of the money. How do I know? I should know because I used to be part of ShareLife until I left because I was actually sick of them criticising rather than doing anything. But what about the groups that actually work in the system? The groups that represent donors and recipients? What do they think of the reforms? Here's Chris Thomas, the boss of Transplant Australia. He says the establishment of the authority and the work it's undertaken has totally transformed donation in Australia and given those waiting for a transplant additional hope. What about Professor Bob Jones, the head of liver transplant at Melbourne's renowned Austin Hospital? He says, I am strongly supportive of the achievements made to date in Australia in boosting organ donation rates. What about Nigel Polk, the president of the Australasian Transplant Coordinators Association? The authority has worked with the utmost integrity and professionalism in its nationwide reform program. I have got strings and strings of these testimonies that have come in last night since this report. Even the government authority which measures donation says last night's claims of fiddling the results was totally inaccurate. Now, we did ask the Assistant Health Minister, Fiona Nash, onto the program this morning to answer some of my questions, but she declined. Because the most disappointing thing for me is that the politician in charge of donations, her, Fiona Nash, has not supported the authority's program and caved in to this rich lobby group and started yet another expensive inquiry into it. It's an absolute disgrace. Fiona Nash, get a backbone. You didn't even ring me as chairman of your advisory council to get my view, or even tell me an inquiry was coming. Obviously, I've got no choice but to resign from the position and actively counter the tripe dished out by a whole bunch of rich lobbyists that just talk and do nothing. Now, we at Sunrise will continue to support the reforms which save lives, and now I won't have to be as diplomatic. I can get stuck into them and support organ donation issues.